All right, so we have the first garden tour of 2022. We'll start on the catio. We have blue and pan. This video, the lighting's bizarre. And noobs. I thought I would just start in here because it just rained a little bit. So everyone's like camping on the catio. All right, we'll start here. So this is lettuce row. And so we have all the different lettuce, leafy situations. And then we have like this little kind of herb rack that's kind of by this little seating area. And me slamming into a chair. These are the things that still need planted, which is okay because a couple things didn't make it. Those are things for giveaway. This stuff up here, the littlest strawberries in the world. I grew these from seed and they're like the smallest strawberry plants ever. So hopefully they grow and it's all good. And we have the St. Francis garden here. And this is roses, but they haven't started to bloom yet. And hopefully they will soon. And then there's this bushy guy, and eventually all the blooms are like this pink and yellow and white like deal. There's a couple of them you can see are doing that, but there's just some plain pink ones because they haven't quite all gone into their thing. But that's kind of fun. It's like hanging from the cat fence, as are a bunch of sticks and debris from the cottonwood tree behind here. This is also the same plant. It's like some kind of vine, but it hasn't started blooming yet. And same thing, the vine has not started blooming. And it's just like taken over this whole thing. So I have to go through and thin all that out. Hi, Blue. I have some pots and some herbs and some mint. And so last year with my mint, I harvested like all of it and dried it, and then I made tea out of it all winter, and it was like so good. And I can't believe I've never done that before. That doesn't even make any sense. So I don't know why I've been buying tea this whole time. But anyway, so I have extra mint growing now. A tomato, and it's funny because it looks really small in this pot. But yeah, it'll eventually be all over the place and kind of hard to contain. And so there's kale that's doing really well. And then some more mint. And this was inherited from Brajana, and like it's kind of growing back in, but kind of not. So I'm not sure what's happening exactly. But there's some more herbs and some more lettuce kind of things and more herbs. And then this is a whole bunch of tomatoes, all these pots. It's a big rhubarb in back. So Chris, if you're watching this, this is going to be your sauce. And then this is chives, and I just let it go to flower because I have a bunch of chive plants and the bees like the flowers. So this is the side here. I have 2 tomatoes in this corner, a bee bath, and then the whole back garden here is like brassicas and zucchini and squash. So there's cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. I think there's a couple types of cauliflower, and then kale, a couple different types of kale, and then like here, that's an onion, that was a volunteer, and then here, that's a sunflower, that was a volunteer, but like that's a squash or a zucchini. I don't remember which. We'll see when it grows. This is garlic in a pot. That's not really doing amazingly, but I don't know. We'll see. Another garlic pot. Yeah, so a couple more tomatoes. Those are lilies in the back. This thing here, we just had some rain, so everything's a little bit kind of down, but this is a peony, and so it hasn't quite bloomed yet. And roses in the back. Got some cats. And then the back corner, that's a celery that's growing. So yeah, so this is this garden here. And then these are the things on the side. The only thing I guess worth mentioning is that these are scallions. I've never grown scallions like in a pot, so hopefully it's good. I can't tell if my camera's dirty or if my phone's dirty. huh? What do you think, noobs? Hey, noobs. Hi. Hi, noobs. Hi, buddy. Hi. Yeah. Okay, extreme close-up of noobs. Getting some love. Okay, we've got Sadie at the gate. We're going to do the front, though. Do you want to stay out front with me? Yeah, she's the game show hostess, if I'm allowed to use those words. So this is snow in the mountain, and it has these nice flowers, so that's cool. The moss is growing in nicely that we planted last year. So this year, so if you remember, like last year, this was all just like shitty grass, and we ripped it up. And so we put in this garden bed, and then those 2 rounds, and then the front berm. And there are the roses right here, and they're getting ready to bloom. So that's fun. And then this garden, this side's going to be cucumbers, and then this thing is up here. I'll hang strings from it, and eventually the cucumbers will grow up the strings. So it'll just be like this wall of cucumbers. So there's cucumbers, there's Sadie, holding down, looking pretty as always. And then there's the little radish seeds that are growing. So all these cucumbers and stuff. And then there's like some beets, and one of them didn't make it. And we'll see. I don't know. It's always, interesting when you do things from seed. It's a little harder. And then this is just like a purple flower that's just been growing kind of like a weed all over the yard. So I transplanted a couple of them into these rounds coming up here. I left that one there for the flower. So these are tomatoes. That's a tomato that didn't go. So one of the ones that's in back I'll put in here. But the other tomatoes made it. And there's some more beets. And some more kale. And some flowers and some pots that have not been planted yet. And here comes Sadie. Yep. Gotta make sure she's in the video. And then there's these flowers. They're really pretty. They're just kind of growing wild, which is nice. So here's this one round. And those are tiger lilies that I thinned out from a different place and transplanted here that don't look super happy, but we'll see. And this is that purple thing, a couple of them, that's doing pretty well. These are some cameos that I thinned out. So cameo's funny because it's not a perennial, but it loses so many seeds when it goes to flower that it repopulates itself. So it acts like a perennial. So sometimes you have to thin it out. And then with this round, these are things I just took out of the yard from other places. So this big fuzzy thing that I don't know what it is, but oh, the texture is such a trip. Such a trip. I wish my camera was better. I don't know if you can even see. It's just fuzzy, like so fuzzy. I don't know if it's mullein or what. And then this one has little itty bitty, very delicate little flowers, like super tiny, tiny flowers. And this thing's coming in, and then more of the chamomile. And so with the middle part of these rounds, I'm going to just plant a bunch of thyme. And at first I thought like creeping thyme, but now I'm just going to do like the bushy thyme that I have over on the other side. All right, so this is the back of the berm that we built last year. So we have some tiger lilies. We have a sunflower that's coming in as a volunteer. I think that yellow thing's a snapdragon. So there was a snapdragon in a pot, and it went to seed. And then now they're kind of all over the place. So some roses, strawberries. And strawberries, I think, are my absolute favorite ground cover because they just really kind of grow all over the place, and they're perennials, and they're, fucking strawberries. So who doesn't love that? And here's Sadie. Just making sure I'm doing the video right. Yeah, so it's great. And these are some more tiger lilies. All right, and then the middle part of the yard. And some of the irises got a little kind of sad with the rain. But I'll swoop back around and show them off in a minute. tiger lilies from last year that I thinned out. This area. These are something, not daffodils, these are daffodils. So they come in the same time that the tulips come in, which is like really a couple months ago. And I have pictures, but I didn't get a video. So what are you gonna do? So I'll show you the front porch first. Fairy garden's not planted yet, pots aren't planted yet. Got some snacks for delivery people. These things, it's a little bit of a mess because it's kind of things that are not planted and things that are just whatever, waiting to be planted. And then, like I said, just rain, so there's all these pine cones everywhere. This is called milkweed, and it's just starting to come in. And when it blooms, it is so fragrant. Like when you open the front door, you can actually smell it from there. It's so amazing. So I'm pretty happy that there's so many of them, because last year there was 3, and now there's like, I don't know, a bunch. So it's kind of fun. All right, so walking down this path. So here's kind of a long shot of the back of the berm we built in 2020. Huh, Sadie? Hi. Okay. So this is a little kind of pot or planter thing that's like under my den window if you're orienting to the house, north side of the house. So just a bunch of shade seeds. And this is a pile of pine cones because there used to be, a bunch of outdoor cats that lived in the neighborhood, which they haven't been around. But anyway, there used to be like turf wars between them and my cats inside. And so if you put down pine cones, cats won't step on pine cones. So that stopped the little shit that was happening in the windows. Some more tiger lilies that I thinned. And so this round was built, I guess, 2 years ago. And it has all kinds of fun things going on with it. And I don't even know what's happening because it was just like shade seeds that I threw into it. So you have like these little purple and yellow guys, and then these like little tiny baby blue things. I don't even know if I can get my camera, and a cattail. Oh. I guess this is a better picture of this. These are the little baby blue things. They're like so small. They're like way smaller than a pinky nail. All right, so these pots have potatoes. So these are potatoes, and then there's 2 tomatoes with cages because I didn't have enough potatoes. And I way overshot how many tomatoes I was growing. This is the pepper garden. So if you're growing peppers, you want to keep them in their own separate garden and then not water them, like hardly ever, because I used to have them, like I was reading about companion planting, and I used to have them mixed with, I don't even remember what, but something that took a lot of water, and so the peppers did not come out hot. Like they came out like bell peppers because they just had too much water. So now I keep them segregated, and then I'm not going to water them so much. So this is the north berm. See if I can get out in the street without getting hit. And so there's, strawberries in front and roses. And a lot of these roses came from the yard in back where the St. Francis garden is, because they were just like way too many and choking everything. Those are lilies that were transplanted. This is like a fun yellow bush. And then also yellow ground cover, so that's kind of cool how that kind of happened. It wasn't really on purpose. This is a corner that I planted seeds, but it gets so much sun, it just gets the shit beat out of it. So the seeds didn't go. Like there's maybe like one thing growing. So I'm just gonna plant some more of this ice plant because ice plant's doing pretty well. So that's this thing. And the flowers are starting to close. There's a couple here that are still open. So when they're open, they're really cool. But they're starting to close because I guess it's getting dusk-ish. But there's a bunch of different colors. So there's the orange ones there, and then there's just like maybe a fuchsia pink, and then like a light purple. I forget which color this one is. And that's just a wall of strawberries right there, so that's gonna be fun. And then some more lilies. And then these purple dudes, and I have no idea what they're called, but they're very pretty. And then there's this purple guy over here that I just really love. He's a very fun color too. And they just kind of go all over the place. And they're kind of mixing in with the phlox over here, the darker purple. And then the phlox is actually like well, I guess it looks pink in this light. I think it's technically a lavender. If I could stay out of the sun, it's kind of a lavender color. And Sadie, and then this is that same bush. It's going to have the yellow flowers in it from the corner. But this hasn't flowered yet. So, and some more lilies. All right, and I'll walk around and go inside the berm. Let's see, there's some lavenders right there. Looks like a little mini tree. It's only supposed to be at full maturity, that tree, like 6 feet, I think. So it wasn't going to be in the way of the gardens, even if it, it takes 20 years for it to become 6 feet, but it still won't be in the way of the gardens. So the stuff between the flagstones coming in nicely, so that's cool. More strawberries. This is like a big daisy guy that just showed up in the yard, so I'm assuming it was like a squirrel poop moment where they just like shit out some seed and this is what this is. But it's like a big daisy thing that's kind of fun. And there's all these different things growing between the rocks, which is fun. Back of this guy, more strawberries. So this is another cucumber garden, and this is another brace to tie them up. And like I said, it's just so interesting to think that they will need tied up soon. Like in weeks in weeks I'll be tying them up, so that's kind of fun. And those are radishes growing. More strawberries, more roses. This is that little daisy guy that I was talking about that just sort of showed up on its own one day. Some seeds that I planted, not sure what they're going to be. These are tomatoes. And a bee bath. And so when I was talking about over on the rounds that I was going to plant more thyme, it was going to be like this kind of thyme. So it looks like ground cover, but it's not that long. It's maybe a couple inches long. See if I can get in better focus. But like it smells good, and it has little flowers. And I think you could eat it if you wanted to, but I don't know. So that's ground cover over here. And then there's some flowers growing in, and I have no clue what they are at all. But something went to seed, blew into the yard, and it's now flowers. Well, it blew into the yard, or squirrels, put it there. So there's this side over here, going into the tree. And here's one of my favorite rocks. It kind of reminds me of like a hippo, but I guess hippos are really dangerous. But it reminds me of like that type of animal, like a hippo or a rhinoceros or something. Back at the milkweed. And so here's these irises, and they are so pretty. They're such an interesting color. They're almost like, it's like a lavender and a red, and there's almost like a flesh tone color. I suppose flesh tone if you're a white girl like me. And then there's like I guess it's like white. So they're just a really interesting color. So those are those irises. This is more phlox. This is a big ass bush that I'm actually going to have to cut some limbs off of, I think, because it's encroaching on the sidewalk. So here's some more irises. I can't see anything because of the sun. Yeah, so these are these irises. They're a little low because of the rain that got rained on. These are called hen and chicks. Some irises in the background. Sadie. Sadie amongst the flowers. More irises. These are strawberries, but they're a different kind of variety, and they have pink, obviously. I've never seen them flower, though. Or no, that's not what I mean. I've never seen them fruit. So, but they're still nice ground cover, and they're still flowers, so that's fun. And some purple irises. Gotta make sure we have the cat in all the videos. And we're back to the lilies. All right, so that's the first garden tour of the season. I will keep you updated. Sadie, any last Any last words? She says no, but gave you a tail flick. Okay, so have a good day. Bye.